The Forest River No Boundary 10.6 toy hauler / camper might be a biker's best friend. If you're looking for a camper that can also haul your motorcycles, bicycles, your other toys, your kayaks, etc., and you want to have the ability to spend more time in the outdoors with a little more comfort, running water, some heat, maybe AC, etc., then this might be your solution. Stay tuned for a complete in-depth owner's review of this little thing that I've been using for the last year and really enjoying. It's served multiple purposes for me as a support vehicle for my motorcycle tours, as a family camper, as a toy hauler for other trips. Whether you're looking to go into the desert or go to the track, this might be it. So let's do it. Let's go through all the details of the camper. I'm going to break it down fully. I'm going to tell you what I like, what I dislike, how it could be improved, what some of the alternatives are. So let's get into it. Zdravo I dobrodošli, bon dia, bem-vindos, servus, willkommen, buenos dias, bienvenidos, greetings riders, and welcome to another Pegasus Motorcycle Tours and Consulting review. This time of my travel trailer / support vehicle / toy hauler, the No Boundary by Forest River. This is a 10.6 model, meaning it has the garage back end. You lower the garage and you can put things inside of it. Up to 2 adventure touring bikes, turns out. So I'll speak more about that. But what I wanted to do in this review is give you a full overview of this camper. If you're looking for something that can serve you better for those desert days, for track days, for long distance family outings, or if you just want to take a bunch of friends and enjoy a little more comfort when it comes to running water, when it comes to maybe even AC, that kind of thing. It gets pretty hot in desert days, in track days. You know, it's nice to have some of these amenities. You sleep better, you ride better, you're more focused. For that reason, it's kind of nice to have this little camper that's big enough to give you everything you need and little enough to fit anywhere. And this is an off-roading kind of rig that it doesn't really find too many limitations when it comes to rough roads and being off the beaten track. So I've tested it out a little bit over the last year that I've owned it, and I've learned to really like it. There's a lot of things that I like about it. There's a few things that I don't. Now, what I like about it most is that it's very utilitarian. As you can see, I pull it with my 4-cylinder Jeep. This is a 2019 2.0 turbo Jeep. By itself, it gets about 25 miles a gallon. With this guy, though, it pulls at about, I don't know, sometimes 14, 15 miles. So it really hits it. As opposed to my Iron Horse motorcycle specific trailer, I was getting up to 22 miles a gallon on that thing, just in virtue of the aerodynamics of it. So it does feel the trailer more, not so much when you're driving. You don't really feel that you're pulling too much behind it, but it does have a great axle, great brakes, great off-road clearance as well. We'll talk about all those details. But again, I'm able to pull it with my little Jeep, and because it's only about 1,700 pounds, something that way, unladen, right? Then you put the 30 gallons of water that it has, fresh water. You add, you know, the air conditioner, you add all this other stuff to it, the rooftop tent, which is very heavy, a few hundred pounds, I think 300 pounds or so, and a bunch of stuff in it, and it can really get up there. The axle is 3,500 pounds, and the weight limit of the trailer is about 37,000 pounds. So that's as much as the camper can carry. Now, the tongue weight is only about 250 pounds, which is kind of amazing because the biggest limiting factor for the Jeep is the 300-pound tongue weight. Now, I have a Land Rover that has a 500-pound tongue weight, and what that refers to is how much the hitch itself can carry. So I needed something small. I like something small that I can get into. There's a lot of national parks where you can't really pull anything longer than, let's say, 22 feet. This is 13.9 overall. So it's as short as it gets. They do have a 12-foot version as well. I think the body on this one is about 10 feet. So they do have a 12-foot version that keeps the kitchen part on the inside, which for me is a negative because I don't like to cook on the inside. I mean, imagine cooking bacon in the morning in the inside of a camper where you're sleeping. So listen to that sound. Oh man, I would be almost offended if the bears didn't come to enjoy this, but look at this beautiful place. Tenaya Lake through the woods. And these are some of the places that NoBo makes a little more accessible and a little more convenient, especially when traveling with kids. Beautiful. Now it's time to blow up the kayak and hit the water. So you get two doors on both sides. It's a very heavy hinge, so it doesn't swing open on its own. Even if you forget to lock it or hinge it, it'll stay this way. You could tell it just wants to stay. Now, when you shove it, you really have to kind of muscle it down. So, and then it's got the basically garage door on that side, and I found that very useful. Even when you don't have motorcycles or bicycles, we have a little Jeep cart when I'm camping with the family. We put everything in the Jeep cart, go down to the beach or the lake or whatever, the woods, and then just load everything up without having to do it individually. So I like really that toy hauler aspect of the rig. Another great benefit, mountain biking. We're at the Mammoth Mountain Bike Park, and I could fit two. I could fit more, but I have two, and I look forward to coming back, using it for a little break, maybe a meal, a nap even, if you want, because there's quite a bit of routes you could do. You could spend many days here. So it's another great use of this little guy. So far I love it. Let's see what this park is all about. Now this is the winter package. I picked this up from Washington, DC, so East Coast. And the NoBo cold winter package includes, for the most part, just that heated pad on the 30-gallon water tank underneath so that it doesn't freeze. I've noticed, I've camped in this in 0-degree weather and below zero, driving it back, and it's not very insulated. I mean, you wouldn't expect it to be very honest, but I did get quite cold inside as if I was camping on the outdoors after the whole night, of course. I mean, in the evening when you get in there and you turn on the buddy heater or whatever, you can heat the place up real quick, but for some reason I couldn't get it to work that day, so got pretty cold inside. So it's not very insulated in that regard. That's not what the winter package means. It just means, for the most part, that it has that heated pad. You have these big wheels that are off-road. They're kind of like grippy on the side as well. I've used those grippers mostly when I'm climbing curbs, to be honest, because it actually takes a little bit of getting used to riding a smaller trailer, because let's say you're turning left from a stop, the hitch is going to push the trailer to the right, and now if you're hugging that curb, you might actually hit the curb and climb the curb, especially if it's a curved curb. So I've noticed that, and these little grippers right here actually help the trailer just climb the curb, no problem. You know, the axle is a Torx axle, so it's the kind where there's no leaf springs. I don't like leaf springs. I've had a camper before, little one, by 3 Feathers Manufacturing from Washington State, and this guy used some cheap Amazon Chinese-made leaf springs that broke in the middle of the trip for me, and that was a heck of a time trying to find the part, replacing it, etc. So I'm done with leaf springs. I don't like leaf springs. I think they're old school tech. So this is still, it's not necessarily independent suspension because the suspension is happening inside the axle. There's a square axle, outer axle, there's a square inner, and on each corner of that square inner there's a rubber tube basically that flexes as the inside square. Inda, this way, leave it alone. I always gotta keep an eye on that dog. Inda, leave it alone. Come this way, come here. The dogs love it. I can just shove them inside because the car is usually full with like car seats and baby stuff, and I got another fridge in there, so they have more space in there. A rough way to start the day. Moral of the story: if traveling with dogs, always make sure you're close to water. All this stuff can happen. It was you? You did this? No. It's alright. Happens to the best of us. Just more often than you. And because this is a toy hauler, there are 2 vents on the outsides that are required by law to vent whatever gases might be inside. Of course, you got your motorcycles in there, gas tanks, and the smell of the, let's say, the chain lube, etc., makes it a little bit uncomfortable to sleep in there, even though you could. I'll show you the inside. But before we get on the inside, so these wheels are really hardcore heavy duty. I like them a lot. I love the axle and the braking. Now, the Jeep did not come with the tow package, so I don't really have a brake controller, so I use a Kurt Bluetooth brake controller, and it works fine. So descending Tioga Pass, I can actually just brake the trailer, because you don't want that wobble. The wobble happens when the trailer's traveling faster than the car, especially downhill, especially a hill like 6% grade like Tioga Pass for 15 minutes. You don't want to be on your car brakes the whole time. You actually want to utilize the trailer brakes. So no big deal. I use the Kurt trailer brakes for that, and it's working fine. What else? So here you have a little pantry. There's a magnetic hinge that keeps it open. It's not too deep, maybe 6 inches or so. Keeps everything you need for your kitchen utensils, etc. Washing dishes, washing hands. I installed this little guy, I think it's from Lowe's, and you put a little bar here, and then you can have your paper towel. So this is kind of nice. Here you have a little extension that is a little daddy medicine right here. That is for your tub that they give you as well. I replaced that tub with one that actually expands and that has a drain at the bottom, so you can utilize this space for that tub. There's nothing really keeping it from sliding out, so I have these little magnetic clips that kind of keep it in place. It doesn't have a faucet. Faucet is one of the more common upgrades, but you really have to drill through the whole wall, and it's kind of a process, so I've never installed it. Here you just basically plug in a hose. It's a quick connect, and then with the water pump, it pumps water through that hose, and it's a shower head. What that means though is that you have to use one hand to operate the hose itself. But you do have running water, 30 gallons of it. You have no gray tank, so you just basically drain it in nature. There's obviously no toilet or anything. We use a cassette toilet for that, and it works fine for our needs. Again, this is kind of a minimalist, if you can call it that, because it is pretty fancy in that regard. But everything you need, nothing you don't, right? And then the same key operates every door, including the safe that's located here. This is the little kitchen area. It's a pull-out, basically, and clicks in place. And then you have this leg that you extend. Sometimes a little tricky to work, but this is an upgraded stove I have here. It works off the LP. Of course, there's an LP tank up front. I'll show you that. And then just a flat surface. I also have a kind of like not a Craftsman, like a Coleman or Ozark Trail type 2-burner 10,000 BTUs stove for that as well, like a burner. This is the Truma 60C is the model. I think that refers to the liters of space. Fridge that comes with it. Fridge is great. There are some issues with the fridge in the sense that it's freaking heavy. It's like 57 pounds. It doesn't have any wheels. It doesn't have a handle that extends, kind of like a luggage that you would carry to roll around from the garage to the house when you're filling, etc. Taking out of here is really difficult. There's not a lot of space. And another thing that I don't like is the controls are all the way down there. You can plug it on either side. The control panel is only on one side, but you can't really see it. You just can't see it. It should have been on top. I don't like this fridge. I wouldn't, and it's like a $1,500 fridge, so that's something to consider. I have a Massimo, smaller fridge, and that one is on wheels, and you can pull it, and the controls are on top, and it's just easier. So I keep that in the car, plug it in, because this fridge has cost me some food before. Most notably, we were camping with my business partner in Death Valley. I didn't have this at the time. I had the Jeep Gladiator, which I reviewed on this channel, with the Kodiak canvas truck tent. Awesome. Also reviewed on this channel. And yeah, I just didn't trust that fridge, and it disconnected during the night, and we lost, I don't know, like 60-70 bucks of filet mignon that we were trying to cook the next day for Thanksgiving. But that's because when you push this in, it tends to hit on the cable here, and the cable that's connected, the 12-volt cable, pulls out. You don't even know because you cannot see the control panel. So very frustrating. The plug vibrates out, as you could see. I just touched it. So this whole time it wasn't working. I lost so much food because of this dumb problem. If there's a way to kind of plug it and turn it so it could stick. I mean, look how sloppy they put this. Just like, whoever did that and whoever said that that was okay to go out that way, it's just unfortunate. So, well, plywood, really thin pieces of wood here. I know because I made this hole to use that space because it was not being utilized. I noticed also here you get a little safety deposit box. You could reach from the inside, barely. I noticed that this guy's breaking too. This little is getting warped right there where the ants are making a home. I hate it. I don't like it. This thing rotates in itself, so when you lose the hole, you're just kind of holding all this weight with your knee or with your neck, trying to find out where the hole is and to set it up correctly. Not a fan of it, of that design. Behind that fridge there's a little lock box. It's bolted down to the metal rack, and the lockbox is operated by the same key that opens the doors, and you can actually access it from the interior, which I'll show you later, and acts like a little gun safe, or just a safe for your belongings that you can access throughout the night if you happen to be sleeping inside. You do have this night light here. This is both amber, which is kind of nice because it preserves so much of your night vision, and you could keep it on all night. And it has the white lights that are very bright, so that's kind of neat. Little handle here for ease of getting in and out. You have 110, there's two of them right here, and you have a kind of like a pigtail for a motorcycle style 12 volt, like a trickle charger type of thing, and you can actually plug it in there to charge your battery that you have in the box out front. Now they do come, most of them do come with the Rhino rack. This is the Batwing Awning. I don't really like it. The first time I opened it, I broke the joints. They're meant to break in wind or whatnot, so I had replacements, replaced it, and it was just too much work. I think it's more work than it's worth. You kind of have to have almost two people holding it, or if not, as you're opening it, you put the leg down. Zero wind conditions, like zero, absolutely no wind conditions have to be for this to work. And as you can see, I have it wrapped with a more or less like a tow cord over here, tow strap, because it started to rip from the seams. The cover started to rip from the seams up top, which is very annoying. I was just thinking of removing that, honestly, because what I do is I carry one of those 9x9 or 10x10 foot, basically soccer mom style expandable shades. I keep that in the front, out there behind the wheel, the reserve wheel of the Jeep, and sets up in a second, puts away in a second. I'm not worried about it. I can always replace this thing is like $900. I'm wondering, is it worth it? I've noticed that Costco sells just the straight ones for about $200, also from Rhino rack. So something to consider. This one did come with the Rhino rack L-shaped kayak or canoe carriers as well. I haven't really used those because I have an inflatable kayak. I prefer that over catching so much wind, because I'm already getting 14 miles a gallon in a vehicle that normally can get like 25, 26, no problem, right? So it's really catching a lot of wind. Same reason why I don't like the rooftop tents. It's not something I would recommend. I think it's more of a fad at this point. For that weight, I mean, and the amount of complexity, like the amount of time it takes to set it up, take it down, might as well just pitch a tent, man. Honestly, you're carrying 300 pounds at the very top of the vehicle, making it less stable. And it's just so, you got a zipper going around 90 degrees 4 times. I mean, how long is that going to last, right? The sun is hitting it the whole time. You have to take so much time in the morning to let the condensation kind of evaporate from it, and it's just costing you time in the morning. Many things that I like about it, many things that I don't. It's a very big tent, and I would almost say almost 7 feet. You have rooftop windows, you have windows on each side, doors on both sides. You have this big ladder, so you get this big beautiful view if you're over a lake. It just takes takes 5 to 10 minutes to set up and take down. You got to be on the roof while you're doing it. The roof is rated, I believe, at 300 pounds for you to stand on, so that's kind of nice. But you kind of have to be on the roof to set it up and undo all the clips and do all the clips, etc. And what are the chances that you trip and break your neck and really injure yourself? Pretty high up there, honestly. I don't like being on the roof. I was a rock climbing instructor. It's not like I fear of heights or anything, and pretty agile, but there's just no need for that, and you're supposed to be able to stand on these, and I mean, you just cannot really reach what you want to reach when you're up there to do everything properly and efficiently. So you kind of have to get on the roof. So I don't like the rooftop tents in general. This one is really nice. It's by Rome Adventure Company. It's a beautiful tent. I mean, I even got the annex for it that zips underneath the platform so that you have extra space to change, to shower, do whatever. It's a really smart tent. I'll open it for you so you can see it, but I just don't dig the whole rooftop tent thing. I would just get rid of everything that's on the top, almost including the air conditioner, because I've never used it. If you're camping, you're not really camping anywhere you can plug in unless you're carrying a generator, which for me also is a little bit unnecessary, honestly. I mean, if you need to carry a generator, then if it's just for air conditioning, then honestly, maybe you're going the wrong direction, man. Follow the south, follow where the weather's better. That's kind of the whole point of these guys. To each their own. Now you do have 4 stabilizing jacks, manually operated, and the tools included there. so you can stabilize it. And there are little levelers on two sides to tell you vertically and laterally how you are positioned so that you could sleep better. So that's good. Let me take you around now. So here it tells you the weight of cargo should never exceed 873 kilos or almost 2,000 pounds, 1,925 pounds. A full load of water equals to 113 kilos or 250 pounds of weight. So that's interesting. This door is that heart hinge. It really is great for this kind of use. And one of the most common upgrades is to change the windows. The windows that come with the NoBo are kind of murky and you can't really see through them, so you can just buy a window that's meant for RVs and replace it. This has a pull down shade as well. You can remove the shade by clicking these off. You can't really operate the shade when the door is closed from the inside. You have to open the door so that you can operate the shade in case you want to hear outside. What I don't like is these cheap plastic handles that are awful, this terrible little lock. And I mean, this is just something I'm definitely probably going to break pretty soon. I noticed on the other side, I can't really use my key on this part. There's something stuck inside, so I have to figure out what's going on there. But not a super strong lock. I mean, this is even moving and all that. But the door itself here, the mosquito door, is kind of nice. Again, it clips into this guy so that you can get in and out with ease or keep it open but not have the bugs inside. So I like that door a lot. And in the newer versions of the NoBo, this is now flush with the floor. In the older versions, it was a bit raised, so it was a trip hazard. So that's how you can kind of tell if you're buying an older or a newer NoBo. This is the cold weather package. Here's a little 110 volts and a power outlet for solar. Apparently you can plug your solar in there. The 4 stabilizing jacks, pretty great to stabilize the whole thing. You get little lights here on the side, and then here's a little pantry. Pantry swings open, locks with the same key as everything else. I've installed this guy for paper towels. It's got 3 racks that are welded. You cannot move them, which is unfortunate because like soap and stuff, it just doesn't fit sometimes. And they do have these little holes that are not perfectly welded shut in the edges, in the corners. And I had a mosquito repellent being pressed while I was driving and just leaked all this citric kind of oil on the inside and just ruined my couches. I had to wash them. Luckily they washed off, but something to keep in mind. Try to plug those holes with the kind of roof style caulking, but you can see there's still so much debris and stickiness in there. So here's the folding rack for your sink. This is an aftermarket sink that I've purchased. It folds out and it has a drain, and I like that a lot. And then what I do basically is I take one of these little tent stakes and I put it in place like that, and it kind of keeps it in place from moving around. You know, you see what I mean? Basically, this magnetic clip, put a stake through the hole and it keeps it in place. So again, it doesn't have any kind of faucet. That would be really great so that you're not using your hand when you are using water, which comes in the form of this blue hose. And the blue hose plugs right in here. It's a quick connect, so it doesn't take a lot of time or anything. And then we have water pump, and then you use squirter basically to wash your hands. So it's kind of nice, but it's in there. Yeah, everything you need. And then it doesn't have gray water tank, so you basically just on the other side pull the plug and it goes straight, and it drains the freshwater tank. There's no gray water, so basically you're just spilling the water in here. These are the 2 lights. One is amber, one is white. Very useful. They're controlled here. On the interior, there is a little switch right there. Up or down. In the middle is neutral. And then this is the little kitchen area. Kitchen area is decent. I don't like this supporting leg. It's really hard to operate. I basically have to put my knee underneath here when I'm adjusting it, and then use one arm and one hand to find a hole. I just don't like it, and I can see it's already getting abused here, so that's gonna fail. This is the original sink. It doesn't have a drain, so I replaced it with the other one, but you have some space there. This is an upgraded stove or burner. It's good for eggs, bacon, that kind of thing. It's by Blackstone. I've noticed them for sale in Costco. You just connect the gas line from here to the gas itself, which is just standard LP gas bottle. Really nice. And then the Truma fridge. This is the model 60C, I believe 60 liters. Not a huge fan of this fridge. It operates fine. You get these 2 racks, one here, one underneath, so that you could take it home and fill it, and this one opens like that for easy access. It's fine. It's just very heavy, 57 pounds, and the screen, I mean, there's no space to even move it around. You can barely even open it. Very little clearance there, and the screen is like right there, or maybe on this side, I'm not sure. So it's hard to know if it's on, because when you shove it inside, it tends to pull on this cord, which is a really poor design. And you can see how shoddily that's been installed and just crooked. And then when you pull on that cord, your fridge is no longer connected. You don't even know, and you lose food. This is a common upgrade, if you can call it that. Basically, you just drill a hole into that little area in the front, which has a lot of space that's not being utilized. And I actually have a few camp chairs. I have you see the little Kelty toilet house or bath house. I have some kitchen utensils. I have some other tent style shades for beach, etc. But over there in the corner, you see a lot of water utilities, etc. Here you have your water pump. It tells you how full your tank is and how full your battery is as well. And you do get a little push light and 2 110s GFCI outlet and 2 USB outlets. So when you're hanging out, you can charge your stuff. Here's the little gun safe. As you can see, it's bolted down, and you can access it through a little porthole, which actually happens to be on the bottom of your closet, which I'll show you on the inside. Okay, this is the Rhino Rack 180, basically batwing awning. I don't know, 180. I wouldn't say it's 180, but it covers from over there all the way to here. This corner is the last leg, even more out. So it covers a pretty decent amount all the way out here, basically. But it's a little flimsy. It's a little I don't know, easy to break, these little joints here, plastic joints. So you always have to have replacements and whatnot. All right, so this is what makes it a toy hauler. This and these two little vents that are federally obligated to be installed on anything that carries motor vehicles inside or is intended to carry motor vehicles. So this door basically has 2 latches. They're lockable both by the same key or by putting basically a lock kind of like that on it. So it's kind of nice. You have these 2 rubber grommets that are supposed to hit the ground, and then when you twist it open, put these away. A lot of people put a PVC pipe here so that if you need more space or more height, you can have it. You can extend it so that this acts like almost like a terrace if it sits flat, if that's your thing. But it's intended to go down, and there you are. You have this ramp with anti-slip coating. Sometimes it's sufficient, a lot of times it's not. Even with these Asolo fancy hiking boots that are specifically meant for preventing you from slipping, I still have sometimes hard time getting grip here. So you have full access to the interior. And again, I have been transporting my own KTM 790 in this thing, along with a customer's bike, typically in the 650 range, but with luggage. Full-size adventure touring bike, let's say. You do have to remove the mirrors and the windscreen typically, because I think you get about 52 inches or so of height here. So It's not exactly conducive to every motorcycle. The length is usually sufficient for normal size motorcycles, adventure touring motorcycles. The specs are linked in the description below, so check it out if it's going to fit your needs. But my 790 fit perfectly with the front wheel hitting the front. And you do get 4 tie downs. I wish there was another row of tie downs in the middle so you could actually park 2 bikes, because with 4 tie downs you kind of have to be a little more creative with how you secure the motorcycles in place. So something to think about. You do get another door on this side, and again, I mentioned that this lock is broken, so I'm forced to open it from the inside. For now, I have to figure out what's going on. Again, pretty difficult to. You really have to like muscle it in there, and the purpose of that is because this is an off-roading rig. It moves around and shifts around a lot. So for that sturdiness and for the desire to keep it well insulated with this rubber gasket, you really have to kind of push. There is a little rain deflector here, so that's kind of nice. These are the vents, adjustable to multiple levels. That's the most, and it can go both ways. Actually, it can open the opposite way as well. And then you do have the standard inlet when you're connected to shore power, for example. Same style door on this side. Again, very sturdy, very strong, with upgraded blacked out windows. Here you do get a little leveler as well to show you how you are centered. Kind of nice when you're trying to, make sure you get a good night's sleep. Here you get a reserve wheel as well. These come with the Cooper Discover STT Pro tires, and the size on these is 215/85 by 16. So pretty solid wheel right there for adventuring. I installed this rock slide carrier for extra roto packs. You can carry gas, you can carry water, whatever you need. 30 gallons of water though is pretty sufficient here. I have a antenna for local channels. I got kids in there sometimes, and not that we really like the TV. Actually did come with a TV, pretty nice RV TV as well, that I ended up breaking because I was transporting my motorcycle, and when I took it off I realized how light this thing was. So now I have just a little Best Buy TV that you put on the back of your headrest for your kids to watch, because it has a CD player. They can watch movies and stuff just to keep them occupied when we're busy around camp. So there it is. You have 2 more in the front of the stabilizing jacks and 1 more here. Again, the angle here is a little rough. For example, the 650 that I bought, the GS 650 that I bought that I had my client purchase in Phoenix, and I went to pick it up to evaluate it first, pick it up, and I loaded it. That bike was lowered, and I was hitting the ramp here. So I had to put a piece of 2x4 to raise the ramp a little bit so that I could load that bike no problem. Very, very nice to be able to sit inside. It does come with these 2 couches, basically two-piece couch set. And when you pull that apart, it fills this whole space, aside from leaving a little bit of spot here for your shoes and whatnot. It's kind of nice. Almost like a queen size, basically. But let's talk about this door first. You do get 3 brake lights in the back. This is the rubber that's kind of coming off its hinges. I noticed that it's warped here, and here it's starting to rip completely because this is catching on it. Whenever I close the door, I can't really slide it anywhere. There's no adjustments here, so I'm not really sure. This is what the ramp says. It's 55 by 50.5, and the loading, it doesn't really say how much it can carry. Well, 1,000 pounds it can carry, so that's interesting. That's plenty. So the bikes that I've carried in here are all around, let's say, 550 pounds with luggage and all that. So 2 bikes, there goes 1,100 pounds, no problem. So yeah, you can see I put a little grease on it, and then I ruined a bunch of shirts, so I started to remove it. You do get 110 volts inside as well, and I do have an inverter behind that TV for that reason. This is the vent. It can go in both directions, open that way or the other way, whichever way you want it to catch. These little clips here are for the magnetic net, kind of heavy duty net, and I like that as well. It's kind of like a mosquito net. So when you pull up to a lake, you can have a really nice view. Sit here, sip on your Pegasus Motorcycle Tours and Consulting insulated water bottle. And you have this little table. It sets pretty sturdy with these two support beams, and each side has a cup holder, and you can meditate with your Pegasus planner, another product that I recently created to help me stay organized. Every page has a quote. It's an undated planner, 6 months. Every page has a quote and more space to write, and then at the end of every week there is a week in review and planning for the week ahead. Pretty great. I review this product more on my website, thepegasusplanner.com. Check it out. This one has a little fan as well. I wish there was a fan on the roof. That would be nice. And I wish these lights that are push operated, very bright, had levels of brightness and that they were maybe offset, because when I'm trying to reach one from the outside, I have a really hard time. I have to put a knee inside to reach the middle. So I think if it was a little bit offset, it would have been a little more useful in that regard. So you do have the breaker box here. Simple fuse box. More GFCI outlets. This is your clothing closet, and you have more deeper space down there. And again, there's a little access port for the safe that ends up rolling right there. So it's kind of neat that you can access that safe from the outside. This is the little insignia. I believe that's Best Buy brand TV that replaces the original. I forget the name of it. It was the brand of the TV that came with this camera. It was very big. It was obnoxiously big. Then you have all that space on the inside for whatever you need. You can see how deep that is for whatever you might need. And you see this is where the liquid came out, dripping down here and just affecting the couch. So again, this couch opens up, and then you do have these D-rings for tying down your motorcycles, your bicycles, etc. Oh, what was that? Out. That's one of the issues I have with these guys. I wish they put a mosquito net, because this way anything can come inside, you know. And I have my babies sleeping in here. Here you have a little kind of cutting board material covering this hole that has some space for your tools. It's useful, however, it should have been a hinge operated unit, because when you step on it, I mean, there's just so much play, and then you put a motorcycle kickstand down and it warps it, so it's not very useful. So another common upgrade is to have that hinged, and that does come with its own fire extinguisher and a Coleman Mac air conditioning unit, which I've never used, so I assume it works like it should. So there it is. That's the interior. Very spacious, very useful. This is the netting for the mosquito net. I had some motorcycle rub on it, unfortunately, but it is kind of a heavy duty material, and it should last a long time if you treat it with better care than I have. When I bought this trailer in Washington, D.C., I wanted to make use of it, not ride an empty trailer all the way to the West Coast. So I picked up a Vespa, 1980 Vespa 200, and I was able to not only carry the Vespa here, but have a bed, inflatable mattress, you know, single person mattress here, and it was great. So I brought it across the country, not empty. So that's what that looks like when you're just hanging out. Pretty nice view, to be honest, and had plenty of beautiful memories with my kids with this thing, so I'm very grateful to it. The axle, there it is, the Torx axle right there. Liebert Corporation is the one that makes the body of the trailer. I believe the axle is by what's the company with a D, American made. In any case, you do have this kind of cheapish plastic material that covers the bottom of the trailer, and in some situations it's kind of gaping and Don't really like that at all. It's the same kind of packaging material. I'm kind of surprised they put that on there. And the thinness of the wall is, I mean, it's less than a 1/4 inch. You can kind of tell here, that's what your trailer is made of, is this like super thin plywood, you know, and that's the frame. So apparently the roof obviously is a little stronger because it can support more weight. So this is the front of the trailer. Another leveler. I have a toolkit here. This is aftermarket, hence the key is facing in there. And then I have one battery here. This is by, I forgot the Raytheon, or not Raytheon. It's a marine battery. I had 2 of these, but they were just taking too much space. It's nice to have tools and whatnot. And then this is your plug for the gas, the LP Quick Connect, which is great. And then when you connect it, you can lock it in place with this little lock. I got my rock straps for the shade, the sunshade that I have. And then I do have the Ram 3,500 pound capacity electric jack as well. And with the Jeep, I actually have to use a 12-foot extender so that it doesn't hit the wheel. And I had to basically reinstall the ball in the opposite way so that it's raised instead of lowered. And I still can't quite open the door all the way. It opens a little bit, almost, well, not enough to open the back of this, which kind of is unfortunate. It's becoming very annoying because then you have limited access to the rear. But that's what it looks like from the front. Another tie down point here. Pretty great little camper trailer. Here's the main power switch. Tells you dry weight is 1,800 pounds. Assembled in the US by Lippert, however you say that. And then you do have the safety brake, pull away brake or breakaway system. And this is the Kurt trailer brake system that's operated via Bluetooth app. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So hopefully you don't need it very often, honestly. But let's see some of the information here. So it's 3,500 pound GAWR, so gross weight rating. And let's see what else is important here. I guess nothing other than that. That's the weighting of the cargo carrying capacity, 760 kilos. Yeah. It does not have any kind of water heater, but you can buy the Jolka system, for example. Put the Jolka here, and it's a portable water heater. I've also reviewed that on this channel. And then utilizing the blue cord or buying the additional extension, you can put the blue cord into a river or any body of water that filters out the incoming water and heats it thanks to a simple LP gas connector. And there it is. And so you can have hot water on demand. If you're a surfer, if you are
Look how dirty you are.
camping with kids, that's always one of the main issues. Just how do you shower everybody comfortably where they learn to really love camping, you know?
I know.
It's trickier sometimes. I mean, you
gosh.
develop tough kids for sure. Start playing with sticks for fun instead of pads. So there you have the Rome Adventure Company tent. These Rhino racks have been kind of flimsy, honestly. Like, they're both, I don't know if I would trust a fancy expensive kayak on here because they just keep coming undone. And yeah, and this is what I mean by this part getting undone. It started to rip a little bit, but it's mostly pulling out. It's got this white compression cord, and over time I think the sun beats it enough and it starts pulling out, and then it starts ripping as well. So I think it can be salvageable, but for you to salvage it, you have to pull this white cord out and then pull it back in where it's containing the strap, and I wasn't able to do that, honestly. So now I have to use this little rack, but this is nice that you can stand on it. You could see how it's kind of welded or bolted to the frame, Nothing is containing it to the camper itself. So again, the camper walls not very insulated for noise or for heat, temperature, etc. You know, if you're camping in the winter in 0 degree temperature, by the morning it's going to be 0 degrees inside as well. There's a lot of condensation buildup because I only have those two windows open. They're not enough unless you're running the fan. I wish there was an opening on the top so that it could filter that condensation up. But again, it's getting a little tricky to actually camp inside because it gets very dirty. Like, it just gets very dirty, especially if you're putting bikes in and out. So then I mean, obviously it's useful. You can clean it, and I carry a little vacuum cleaner and little wipes and all that. I'm trying not to get everything dirty, but and you could sleep either on the tent or on the rooftop tent. But just keep in mind that if you have motorcycles, especially dirt bikes in there, it's going to get filthy. Probably going to have residues of stank of the gas and the chain lube and stuff inside that makes it a little uncomfortable to sleep in. But it is doable. I mean, especially if you're a biker. I took 2 bicycles to the Mammoth Mountain mountain bike park, and I'm in Eastern Sierras right now. I just got done with a tour, and it's been so lovely here. I've been utilizing the time to get to know the area even better as a tourist. So I had 2 bikes, one downhill, one regular mountain bike fully, and I went down the mountain bike park in Mammoth Mountain, which is supposed to be world famous. So, and if you're interested in the Eastern Sierra tours, we offer it. Pegasus Motorcycle Tours offers a private, typically 5-day, but we can make it custom tour of the amazing Eastern Sierras. It's an incredible place. I mean, look at this place. It's gorgeous. And you get to see about 10 to 15 alpine lakes and amazing alpine passes, and it's just incredible place. So I love coming here. You know, it's a privilege to be able to spend some time here and to bring the kids and to have a little more comfort. Just makes it that much easier, that much more memorable when you're not packing everything in the morning. You just kind of roll everything in, close it up, and be on your way. It's kind of nice. So I like it for that reason. It's become not only usable for my business, but it's also for my kids. They're able to enjoy the outdoors a little more, something that didn't exist when we were growing up, right? And this can be had for anywhere, you know, from $13,000 on the used market. I think 25 is what they're going for MSRP. COVID craziness made everything different, made the prices like skyrocket. But yeah, I think I've seen them down to 12 grand, even without the roof racks and all that. And if you don't need the rooftop tent or the awning, then you're okay. So for 12K, you can have an extra garage, storage unit, camper, toy hauler, and just a weekend warrior, which is not a bad gig. Now there are some different options that you can look into. The main competitor to this unit is, well, it's its own. It's the NoBo 12.6, I believe it's called. So it's a 12-footer, or don't quote me on the model, but there's a 12-footer as well that has the kitchen on the inside. There's a 10.5, which doesn't have the back entry, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. But the other companies that make it, there's one company called Intech Flyer. They make a 10-footer and a 12-footer as well. And now they're coming up with pop-outs on both sides or on one side, which is really great. I think that would solve my issue. One, you could sleep more people if you have a pop-out. And 2, it's just quicker. It's easier. And keep in mind, some national parks that have bear activity don't allow soft tents and pop-out tents. They allow only sleeping in hard-covered tents. So hard-walled, basically, tents or campers. So that's another thing to keep in mind. That's what you're buying it for. But it's a handsome guy that I always get approached by people almost in any parking lot. I haven't seen another one on the road, and people who are into overlanding are familiar with them. But a lot of people that have never seen one will come and approach and say, "Wow!" and they'll ask me to open it and that kind of thing. So I even have people take pictures of it. So the other company that makes something similar, it's called the Mojo, but I've read up on that a little bit, and it seems like the quality is not quite there. There's quality issues on all of these units. I think out of the 3, the Intech Flyer is probably the most reputable in that regard. The Forest River is kind of the median, right? I mean, you're going to get issues like thin walls and plastic door handles and, you know, misaligned installation, that kind of thing. But it works. It does its job, you know. Depends how you use it. So this might end up being home for tonight because It's Labor Day weekend, and it's the second time we hit ridiculous traffic. Here it is, an hour and 24 minutes again after a 45-minute delay. There it is. I hope that was useful. I'm gonna go enjoy this area a little more, enjoy my dogs before we have to head home. I lost, oh, there they are. Look at these beautiful, beautiful things that also get to enjoy nature, because now we can carry them in the camper since the car is so populated. These are 70-pound dogs, so they need their space too. And here we are in the woods of Eastern Sierras. Again, check out Pegasus Motorcycle Tours and Consulting. I have trailers from previous tours, and I have a trailer of the tour itself for Eastern Sierra, for Southern California, etc. We're launching a Southwest tour as well, so keep in mind for that. It's just kind of nice to come up at the top of the mountain after a few hours of hard riding and have this thing here ready with maybe a little bit of AC and hot coffee, etc., with the view where you can actually sit down and just enjoy the view from the inside. If there's mosquitoes, you're not being abused by them. So great little trailer. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Till the next one, thank you for watching. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to ask any questions if I can answer. Be happy to. I always try to answer all the comments. And for me, I do this because the comment section is the biggest value of this YouTube channel. For me, it's primarily a learning channel, and primarily for selfish reasons. I learn so much from you, so I thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, for your attention, for your participation. If you like to support the independence of this channel, please consider our Pegasus planner. It's changed my life. And that's not a hyperbole. I've really worked hard on that product for over a year, in a beautiful leather product that's made locally in San Diego by a talented artist, and kept me a lot more organized and efficient. So that's one way you could support the channel. Another way, of course, subscribe, all that stuff, and bless the YouTube algorithms to keep this channel growing. Thank you again. Until next time, Nick, I'm out.